You've probably heard someone say AI is taking over the world. But here's what nobody tells you: when they say AI, they're usually talking about something that didn't exist 5 years ago. Everything else they call AI is a completely different thing doing completely different work. Welcome to the scripted future. Right now, the word AI covers at least 3 totally separate technologies. Most people mix them up like they're the same tool. They're not. And understanding the difference changes how you think about what's actually happening in tech right now. Let's start with the oldest kind. Rule-based AI is basically just if-then logic. Your email spam filter is rule-based AI. It checks if an email has certain words, comes from a certain sender, or has specific formatting. If yes, it goes to spam. Your phone's autocorrect is rule-based. Chess programs like Deep Blue, which beat Garry Kasparov back in 1997, were mostly rule-based too. They didn't learn anything. They just followed pre-programmed decisions faster than a human could think. This stuff has been around since the 1960s and it still runs most business software today. Then you've got machine learning. This is where AI actually gets interesting. Instead of writing rules by hand, you feed a computer tons of data and let it find patterns itself. Netflix recommends shows you'll probably watch because it studied millions of viewing habits and found patterns. Your bank flags a weird transaction because it learned what normal spending looks like for you specifically. Google Photos organizes your pictures by recognizing faces and objects. Machine learning did none of this on purpose. It just found the patterns hidden in data. Companies have been using this seriously for about 15 years. Google, Amazon, Facebook, all the big players built their whole business partly on machine learning. It's incredibly useful. But it still can't create anything new. First, here's why that matters. Machine learning needs historical data to work. If you want to predict house prices, you need old house sales data. If you want to spot fraud, you need examples of fraud that already happened. The technology is reactive. It looks backward. Second, machine learning doesn't understand anything. It finds statistical relationships. If you showed it 10,000 pictures of cats and dogs labeled correctly, it would learn to tell them apart. But it has no idea what a cat actually is. Show it a cat wearing a sweater it's never seen before and it might get confused. It doesn't have real understanding. It has probability math. Now, generative AI. This is the ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini stuff that blew up in the last 2 years. Generative AI is a specific type of machine learning that does something machine learning couldn't do before. It generates new content. New text, new images, new code, new audio. It doesn't just predict or classify. It creates. Through something called a large language model, or LLM. ChatGPT's main model was trained on roughly 300 billion words from the internet, books, articles, everything. That training happened between 2021 and 2023. The model learned not just what words mean, but how humans structure ideas and language. When you ask it something, it doesn't look up an answer. It predicts the next word that should come, then the next, then the next. Like an incredibly sophisticated autocorrect. Third, this is the mind-blowing part. Generative AI creates outputs that have never existed before in that exact form. It can write an essay about something nobody ever wrote about. It can code a program in a language style it's never encountered. It can generate images that don't exist in any training data. Older machine learning could never do that. It could only choose between existing patterns or predict based on what it saw. OpenAI's ChatGPT hit 100 million users in 2 months when it launched. No consumer product ever grew that fast. It happened because generative AI felt like something new. Something that could actually create. And that's the key difference. When people say AI is taking over, they usually mean generative AI. But that's only the newest slice of AI. The older tools, rule-based logic and machine learning, have been quietly running everything for decades. So when you hear someone panicking about AI, ask them which AI they mean. The email filter? The recommendation system? The thing that writes essays? Those are wildly different technologies with wildly different abilities and limits. Most of the time, people don't know which one they're talking about. And that confusion is why the whole conversation around AI right now is kind of a mess. Here's my question for you. Which of these three do you think will matter more in the next 5 years, the old machine learning that powers recommendations and predictions, or the newer generative AI that creates new content? Leave your take in the comments. And if you want more clarity on how AI actually works instead of how people talk about it, subscribe to The Scripted Future. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to The Scripted Future for more tech and AI news that actually matters.